Hi, readers. Today we are going to read a new article, and I'm also going to introduce a new focus word for this week. Before I do that, I want you to take a close look at this photograph, and I want you to think about what you see when you look in this photograph. And I want you to also be thinking about what you think. And I want you to think about what are you wondering as you look at this photograph. So as I was looking at this photograph, I see inside this photograph, and let me just go back again before we write this in my chart, that there looks to be different rows. Okay, this is one row, and then this is a second row, and a third row, and so on. And in each row, a lot of these foods, I see different colors. So I wrote, I see rows of different color foods. Now, thinking. What were you thinking as you looked at this photograph? Well, as I was looking at the photograph, I think that they grind the foods that are in the cloth. It looks like they're in some type of cloth bag. It's not a plastic bag. It looks like it's made of cloth. What about wonder, right? What am I wondering as I'm looking at this photograph? Well, I wonder, where does it come from? Okay. So as we are looking closely at photographs, we need to be thinking about what we see, what we're thinking, and what we're wondering. So today, as we read our article, we are going to have our focus word, dish. Okay? When you hear the word dish, how many syllables are in that word? Dish. Very good, readers. Just like you, I only hear one syllable in the word dish. And let's try and say all of the sounds that we hear in the word dish. You ready? D, I, sh. Great job. So this is our focus word for the week. So let's take out our meaning mappers now. Okay, when you hear the word dish, what does the word dish make you think of? Or what does it remind you of? So remember, a dish is a certain kind of food that is prepared. Okay, so take a moment and add a word to your meaning mapper now that you can connect to the word dish. What comes to mind? So when I hear the word dish, I think of the word plate. After all, I need a plate to serve a meal that I prepare. So I think of the word plate every time I hear the word dish. Okay, so that word connects right to the word dish on our meaning mapper. So let's keep this word dish, our focus word, in mind as we read our article. Now, the article-a-day today is called Spices in Indian Cuisine. And here is India on our world map. And India is a country located in Asia. Okay, so Asia is a very large continent, and India is pretty much at the most southern part of Asia here. And we see in this photograph that there are different spices in a basket. So as we're reading, let's find out what we learn about spices in Indian cuisine and continue taking a close look at our text and the photographs to think about what we see, what we think, and what we wonder. All right, readers, let's take a look at this article. India is a country in Asia. It has one of the largest populations in the world. More than 1 billion people live there. And here is a list of countries by their population size. India has more than 1 billion people. So you can see here that India is second in the amount of population, the number of people living in that place. Next to China, we have India. Wow. Indian cuisine has a lot of different types of food. One kind of ingredient in almost every Indian dish is a spice. Some common spices include cumin, cardamom, garlic, pepper, turmeric, and chilies. And here we have our definition of ingredient. An ingredient is one of the things that goes into a mixture. When you make cookies, you use many ingredients such as flour, salt, eggs, and sugar. And one kind of ingredient in almost every Indian dish is a spice. So this must be another photograph of different spices. Many Indian dishes use a mixture of spices. For example, a popular Indian dish is biryani. It is a dish made of rice, meat, vegetables, and spices. One biryani recipe uses the spices of ginger, garlic, chili powder, turmeric, paprika, coriander, cumin, cloves, cinnamon, and saffron. Other biryani recipes have different mixtures of spices. Maybe you can smell the spices in a dish the next time you eat Indian cuisine. And here's a photograph of chicken biryani. That looks good. And the word mixture, let's see what they tell us about it here. It says, let's say you put sugar and butter together in a bowl. If you stir these things together well, you will get a mixture. A mixture is what we call something after we have mixed different things together into one thing. Okay, so after reading this article, I want us to think about what was something that we saw in the text, what was something that we were thinking, and what was something that we were wondering. So that's something that we can do not just before we start reading a text, but while we're reading and when we're done reading. So let's think about that for a moment, readers. So I also thought about something new to add to my chart here that we are completing, okay? And hopefully you were able to record something as well. I see spices look different. Okay, there are a lot of different spices, right, that we saw in the photographs. What about thinking? If you haven't taken time to record something that you were thinking as we read this text, take a moment and record that now on your paper or on your virtual book of knowledge. So I think a lot of dishes I like to eat use spices. There's a lot of things that we learned there. And sometimes we have questions that come up in our mind that we're wondering. So, what were you wondering? Jot it down now. I was wondering how you know which spices to use for different dishes that you make. How do you know if I should use cumin or coriander? How do you know? Okay, great job, readers. And now let's go back to our Meaningmapper. Let's take our Meaningmappers back out. Okay, and I want you to think about another word or words that this article that we just read about Indian cuisine made you think of. And how does that word connect to the words on your Meaningmapper? Take a moment and record that now. As I was reading this article, a word that came to my mind was cuisine. That was a popular word. And cuisine is a type of food that we eat. And there is, as we read here, some Indian cuisine. It is a type of food that we eat. And it is a type of dish that someone might make. So I connected that word directly to the word dish, which is our focus word. Good job today, readers. I'm glad that you were looking closely at the text and thinking about what you see, what you were thinking, and what you were wondering. See you next time, readers.